Omar al-Rashid positioned the chess pieces and spoke in Arabic, his tone dripping with condescension. Anna Morrison's heart sank. She didn't understand a word. Her company desperately needed his billions, but she was failing his test. The billionaire smirked, clearly enjoying her discomfort. "Typical American," he muttered in accented English, expecting the world to speak your language. Anna's face burned with humiliation. Suddenly, a small, clear voice rang out in perfect Arabic. "I'll play with you, sir." Everyone turned. There stood Emily, 6-year-old daughter of Michael, the janitor cleaning the room. The room fell completely silent. Anna Morrison was drowning in debt. $3 million. That number haunted her every waking moment, followed her into restless dreams. SecureVault, her life's work, had exactly 28 days before bankruptcy. She developed revolutionary encryption technology that could protect data in ways the market had never seen. But innovation without funding was just an expensive hobby. The conference room felt like a courtroom, where she was both defendant and prosecutor, fighting for her company's life. 12 employees still believed in her vision, even though she'd missed 2 payrolls. They coded through nights fueled by pizza and hope, refusing to abandon ship even as water rushed through the hull. Her CFO had quit last month, said she was delusional to keep fighting. Maybe he was right, but Anna couldn't stop. This technology could save millions from cyber attacks, protect hospitals from ransomware, shield children's data from predators. It mattered. She just needed someone else to see that. Her preparation for Omar al-Rashid had been obsessive. She'd read every interview, studied every investment pattern, analyzed his business philosophy. He was worth $47 billion, built from Saudi oil investments that he'd brilliantly diversified into technology sectors. But Omar didn't just write checks. He played games with potential partners, tested them in unconventional ways. One CEO had to solve a Rubik's Cube while pitching. Another had to cook a perfect omelet. The tests seemed random, but Omar claimed they revealed character under pressure. Anna had practiced everything: financial projections, technical demonstrations, market analysis. She'd even learned basic Arabic greetings, thinking it might show respect for his culture. But when he'd spoken in rapid, fluent Arabic, gesturing at the chessboard, her mind went blank. The words she'd memorized dissolved. She saw her company dying in his amused eyes. Michael Chen lived in shadows by choice. Once, his name had appeared in Chess Weekly, International Gaming Magazine, even the New York Times. The Chen Gambit, they'd called his signature move. At 15, he'd beaten 3 grandmasters in a single tournament. Sponsors lined up. Harvard offered a full scholarship. Then Sarah got sick. Leukemia didn't care about chess rankings. He threw a championship match for $50,000 under the table, enough for experimental treatment. It bought them 3 more years together. 3 years of watching her fade while Emily grew. Sarah died when Emily was 2, taking his chess career with her. The scandal of the throne match destroyed his reputation. Sponsors vanished. The chess world had no forgiveness for cheaters, regardless of reasons. Now he pushed mops, emptied trash, replaced paper towels. SecureVault paid $15 hourly plus benefits. Enough for a small apartment, Emily's school supplies, food that wasn't ramen. He worked nights so he could walk Emily to school, help with homework, teach her chess on their garage sailboard. Nobody at SecureVault knew about his past. He was just Mike, the reliable janitor who never missed shifts. He'd watched Anna Morrison pour her soul into this company. She reminded him of his younger self, brilliant, passionate, naive about how cruel the business world could be. He'd seen her sleeping at her desk, living on energy drinks and determination. Part of him wanted to tell her that talent wasn't enough, that the game was rigged against people like them. But hope, even false hope, was sometimes all that kept people going. Emily Chen understood things other 6-year-olds didn't. She knew Daddy was sad, even when he smiled. She knew they were different from families with new cars and vacation photos. She knew the chess pieces had names Daddy whispered like prayers: Sarah's sacrifice, Emily's defense, the endgame that never came. But she also knew Daddy loved her more than chess, more than the trophies he'd hidden in the closet, more than the life he'd lost. Languages came to her like gifts. Mrs. Fatima next door taught her Arabic while Daddy worked. The Lebanese grocer practiced with her. Chinese grandmothers in the park corrected her Mandarin pronunciation. Spanish from television, French from library books. Patterns and sounds collecting in her mind like treasures. School was easy, boring even. Teachers said she was gifted, needed advanced programs. Daddy would smile sadly and say, maybe next year. Emily didn't push. She understood money even if adults thought she didn't. She saw how Daddy counted change at grocery stores, how he fixed her shoes with glue instead of buying new ones. So she learned everything she could for free languages from neighbors, chess from Daddy, mathematics from library books. When Daddy brought her to work that day because school was closed for teacher conferences, Emily promised to stay quiet in the break room, but voices drew her toward the conference room, especially the Arabic-Egyptian dialect, Cairo specifically. She recognized Miss Anna's voice too, tight with panic. Emily couldn't help herself. Languages were meant to be bridges, Daddy always said. Maybe she could build one. Omar al-Rashid had built his empire on reading people. Micro-expressions, voice patterns, body language, all data points in human behavior. The chess test wasn't about the game itself, but about response to unexpected challenges. Anna Morrison had failed spectacularly, not because she didn't know Arabic or chess, but because she'd frozen instead of adapting. He was about to dismiss her. Another idealistic entrepreneur without the steel to survive. When the child's voice cut through his judgment. Perfect Arabic. Not textbook, not formal, but street Arabic with Cairo inflections he hadn't heard since childhood. A janitor's daughter, fearlessly offering to play chess with a billionaire. The contrast was so stark, so unexpected, that it shattered his assumptions. "You speak beautifully, little one," Omar said in Arabic, genuinely curious. "Who taught you?" Emily climbed onto the chair across from him, her feet dangling. "Everyone teaches me," she replied in Arabic. "Mrs. Fatima says languages are doors. The more doors you open, the more rooms you can enter." She switched to English, looking at Anna. "Don't worry, Miss Anna. He's testing you, but not how you think." The observation was unnervingly accurate. Omar studied the child more carefully. Intelligence blazed in those dark eyes, the kind that saw through pretense. "And what do you know of tests?" he asked. "Daddy says life is full of tests," Emily replied, arranging chess pieces. "But the real test isn't winning. It's how you play when you're losing." Michael wanted to disappear through the floor. Emily had blown their cover, revealed their existence to people who mattered. In his experience, being noticed by the powerful only brought pain. But Emily was already setting up the board with practiced efficiency, chattering in Arabic about chess philosophy. "Daddy was famous once," she told Omar matter-of-factly, "but he says being famous isn't as important as being good. That's why he teaches me to play properly, not just to win." Omar's eyes sharpened, looking at Michael with new interest. "You play?" Michael's throat felt like sandpaper. "A little." Emily laughed, the sound bright as bells. "Daddy's being modest. He has trophies hidden in our closet. Lots of them." Anna watched this surreal scene unfold, her carefully prepared presentation forgotten. A billionaire and a 6-year-old setting up chess while discussing philosophy. A janitor who might be a former champion. Her last chance meeting had veered completely off script, but something about it felt more real than any boardroom presentation she'd ever given. "Mr. Al-Rashid," she ventured, finding her voice. "I can explain my company's value proposition while you play." Omar waved his hand. "Value propositions are words, Miss Morrison. Let's see what truths emerge from this game." He moved his pawn forward. Emily responded instantly with her knight, an aggressive opening that made him raise his eyebrows. "Interesting. Your father taught you the Reti opening?" "Daddy says conventional openings are predictable," Emily replied. "Better to make your own path than follow someone else's." The game progressed with surprising intensity. Emily played with a mixture of orthodox technique and creative improvisation that kept Omar engaged. Meanwhile, Anna found herself explaining Secure Vault's technology without her prepared script, speaking from passion rather than memorized bullet points. She talked about the nurse who'd thanked her for protecting patient records, the small business owner who'd avoided ransomware disaster, the vision of democratizing security so everyone could be protected, not just those who could afford premium solutions. Michael stood frozen by his cart, watching his daughter play chess with a billionaire while his secret past unraveled with each move. Emily's style was unmistakably influenced by his teaching, the Chen Gambit variations, the psychological pressure, the ability to see 7 moves ahead. Anyone who knew chess would recognize it. "Your father," Omar said to Emily while contemplating his next move. "He must be quite accomplished to teach you such sophisticated strategies." Emily beamed with pride. "Daddy's the best teacher in the whole world. He says chess is like life, every piece has value, even pawns. And sometimes, sacrificing something important is the only way to protect what matters most." The words hung heavy in the air. Michael's hands gripped the mop handle until his knuckles went white. That philosophy had cost him everything once. "Miss Morrison," Omar said, not looking away from the board, "tell me about your team." Anna sensed this was important. 12 people who believe in this technology enough to work without regular pay. They could make 3 times their salary at Google or Microsoft, but they stay because they believe we're building something that matters. "And your janitor?" Omar asked casually. "Is he part of this believing team?" Anna glanced at Michael, really seeing him for the first time. Not just the quiet man who emptied trash bins, but someone who'd raised this extraordinary child, who clearly had depths she'd never imagined. "Everyone at Secure Vault matters," she said carefully. "We're only as strong as Daddy fixed Miss Anna's computer last week," Emily interrupted cheerfully. She was crying because the code wouldn't work, and Daddy looked at it and showed her where the recursive loop was broken. Anna's mouth fell open. That bug had plagued her for days. She'd assumed one of her developers had fixed it. "You understand code?" she asked Michael. He shrugged uncomfortably. "Patterns are patterns, whether they're chess moves or algorithms." Omar captured Emily's bishop. But she didn't flinch. Instead, she moved her rook into position, with confidence beyond her years. "Check," she announced calmly. Omar studied the board, realizing he'd walked into a trap. The 6-year-old had sacrificed her bishop to create an opening, just as her father had apparently sacrificed his career for something more important. "You've raised a remarkable daughter," he told Michael in a tone that suggested he knew more than he was saying. "She's everything," Michael replied simply. No elaboration, no justification, just truth. Omar moved his king out of check, but Emily was already 3 moves ahead. Her queen swept across the board in a move that would have made grandmasters proud. "Checkmate in 4 moves," she announced, then added kindly, "unless you want to sacrifice your queen, but Daddy says that's only worth it if you're protecting something more important." The room fell silent. A 6-year-old had just defeated a billionaire at chess while delivering philosophy that cut to the heart of every sacrifice in the room. Anna's sacrifice for her company, Michael's sacrifice for his daughter, even Omar's sacrifices, whatever they might be. "I concede," Omar said formally, tipping his king. He looked at Anna with new eyes. "Your company has something rare, Miss Morrison. Not just technology, but people willing to sacrifice for something greater than themselves." He pulled out his phone. "I'll invest. 15 million, 20% equity, and I want Mr. Chen officially on your strategic advisory board." Michael started to protest, but Omar raised his hand. A man who understands patterns, who can fix code and teach chess at grandmaster level, who chose love over glory, that's exactly the kind of advisor a company needs. Anna's relief was so overwhelming she thought she might faint, but then the implications hit her. "Michael, you were a grandmaster?" Emily answered for him. "Daddy was in the newspapers. But then Mommy got sick, and he stopped playing famous chess to take care of us. He says love is more important than games." The truth hung in the air like a confession. Michael Chen, janitor, was also Michael Chen, former chess prodigy who'd thrown a championship and disappeared from competitive chess. The scandal had been huge. A rising star caught taking money to lose. Nobody had known about the dying wife, the medical bills, The desperate father trying to buy more time with the woman he loved. The Chen Gambit. Omar said quietly. I remember now. You beat Kasparov in an exhibition match. Then you vanished after that scandal. Michael's face was stone. That was another life. A life you sacrificed for love, Omar observed. No wonder your daughter understands sacrifice so well. He stood, extending his hand to Emily for a formal shake. Young lady, you've taught me more about business in 20 minutes than most MBAs learn in 2 years. Emily shook his hand solemnly. Will you visit again? Daddy doesn't have anyone to play real chess with. I'm good, but he pretends to lose sometimes to make me happy. The innocent revelation made Michael close his eyes in embarrassment. Emily, Mr. Al-Rashid is very busy. I'll come every week. Omar interrupted. On one condition. Your daughter continues her language studies, and you return to competitive chess. The circuit needs players who understand what really matters. Weeks passed in a blur of contracts, development, and growth. Omar's investment saved Secure Vault. But more importantly, it brought Michael out of the shadows. Anna insisted he join the leadership team, not as janitor but as strategic advisor. His ability to see patterns, whether in code or business models, proved invaluable. Emily became Secure Vault's unofficial mascot, practicing languages with international clients who visited, charming investors with her chess games and wisdom beyond her years. The break room transformed into her after-school study space, where developers taught her coding while she taught them Arabic phrases. Anna found herself drawn to this unconventional family. She stayed late, not just for work, but for the dinners Michael started cooking in the office kitchen. Simple meals that felt like home. Emily would chatter about school, while Michael and Anna discussed strategy. Both business and chess. The boundaries between professional and personal began to blur. You like her, Emily announced one evening while Anna was teaching her basic encryption concepts. Miss Anna? You light up when she's around, Emily said matter-of-factly, and she looks at you like you're not invisible. That's important. You've been invisible too long, Daddy. Michael's face flushed. Emily. That's not appropriate. Why? Emily challenged. You taught me to see patterns. The pattern is obvious. You both work late, to be near each other. You smile more. She smiles more. Even Mr. Omar noticed. He said you two dance around each other like chess pieces afraid to cross the board. Anna overheard from the doorway, her heart racing. She tried to ignore her growing feelings for Michael, telling herself it was just admiration for his intelligence, respect for his sacrifice. But Emily was right. Patterns didn't lie. Maybe, Anna said, entering the room, some chess pieces need encouragement to make their move. She looked directly at Michael. Would you like to have dinner? Just the two of us. Without discussing code or chess or anything related to work. Michael's surprise shifted to something softer, warmer. I haven't dated since Sarah, he admitted. I might be terrible at it. Daddy, you're terrible at lying, not dating. Emily corrected. Say, yes. Miss Anna makes you happy. Their first date was intentionally simple. Coffee at a small cafe where no one talked about valuations or algorithms. Michael told her about teaching Emily to play chess with pieces made from bottle caps when they couldn't afford a proper set. Anna shared her fear that success would change her, make her into the cold executives she'd always despised. They discovered shared loves of obscure science fiction novels and terrible kung fu movies. I should tell you, Michael said as they walked back. The scandal was real. I did take money to throw that match. Emily doesn't know the full truth. Anna stopped walking. Tell me. So he did. Anna. 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 Every painful detail. Sarah's diagnosis. The experimental treatment not covered by insurance. The desperate decision to take $50,000 to lose a match he could have won blindfolded. The Chess Federation's investigation. The lifetime ban. The sponsors who abandoned him overnight. You traded your dreams for love, Anna said softly. I'd do it again, Michael replied without hesitation. But people don't forgive that kind of betrayal in competitive sports. Anna took his hand. The people who matter do. Their relationship developed slowly, carefully, with Emily as an enthusiastic cheerleader. She appointed herself as their translator, not of languages but of emotions neither was good at expressing. "Daddy thinks you're brilliant," she'd tell Anna. "Miss Anna says you're the smartest person she knows," she'd inform Michael. "You're both being silly. Just kiss already." Everything changed the morning. Reuters published the article. Chess. Scandal. Revisited. Disgraced grandmaster now advising tech startup. Someone had leaked Michael's involvement with SecureVault, spinning it as Anna hiring a known cheater, someone who'd taken bribes. The article questioned her judgment, suggested she was desperate enough to associate with anyone who might help. By noon, 3 potential clients had canceled meetings. Omar called within an hour. "Someone's trying to sabotage you," he said bluntly. "This isn't random. The timing, the spin, it's calculated. Who benefits if SecureVault fails?" Anna knew immediately. David Martinez, her former co-founder who'd left to start a competing company. He'd tried to poach her developers, steal her clients. Now he was trying to destroy her reputation. The office felt like a funeral parlor. Developers read the article in silence, unsure how to react. Emily arrived after school to find her father packing his desk. "If I leave now, the damage might be contained," Michael told Anna. "This is my past, not yours." Emily's face crumpled. "Daddy, you can't run away again. You taught me that pawns who reach the other side become queens. But they have to keep moving forward, not backward." Anna slammed her laptop shut. "Nobody's leaving. We're going to fight this. Together." She looked at her team. "Anyone who wants to leave because our strategic advisor made a desperate choice to save his dying wife. There's the door." Nobody moved. One developer, young and earnest, raised his hand. "My mom sold our house to pay for my brother's cancer treatment." Desperation makes people do things they never imagined. If Michael hadn't thrown that match, Emily wouldn't exist. That seems like the right choice to me. Omar arrived that evening with a Wall Street Journal reporter. "We're going to tell the real story," he announced. "Not the scandal, but the sacrifice. The chess prodigy who chose love over glory. The CEO brave enough to see past reputation to recognize brilliance. The 6-year-old who speaks 7 languages because her father invested everything in her education instead of his comeback." Michael resisted. "This isn't your fight." "It became my fight when someone tried to destroy my investment," Omar replied. "Besides, Emily asked me to help. In Arabic, Mandarin, and English. Just to make sure I understood." The interview was brutal. The reporter, Catherine Walsh, didn't pull punches. She grilled Michael about the match fixing, Anna about her judgment, even questioned whether Emily was being exploited for sympathy. Then Emily spoke up. "My daddy didn't cheat. He made a trade. 1 championship for 3 more years with Mommy. That's not cheating. That's love. And Miss Anna didn't hire him because she felt sorry for us. She hired him because he's brilliant. He sees patterns nobody else sees. That's why SecureVault's algorithm works better now. That's why Mr. Omar keeps coming back to play chess with him. That's why everyone who actually knows Daddy respects him." Catherine Walsh studied the 6-year-old who'd just delivered a defense that would make lawyers envious. "You understand why some people think what your father did was wrong?" Emily nodded. "But they think the game matters more than the people playing it. Daddy taught me the opposite. The people always matter more." The article Catherine Walsh published changed everything. The Grandmaster's Gambit, a chess prodigy's ultimate sacrifice, went viral within hours. She dug deep, finding nurses who remembered Michael sleeping in hospital chairs, chess players who'd wondered why such talent vanished overnight. Even the doctor who'd confirmed the experimental treatment had given Sarah 3 more precious years. Public opinion shifted. Number "Love over glory" trended. Chess federations worldwide debated whether lifetime bans should have exceptions for extraordinary circumstances. SecureVault received more publicity than any startup could afford, all positive. But in the office, a quieter drama unfolded. Anna discovered David Martinez had planted someone inside her company, feeding him information. The mole was Marcus, one of her original developers, someone she'd trusted completely. The betrayal cut deep. Marcus had been offered CTO at David's company, double the salary, stock options. He'd been documenting their code, preparing to replicate it. "I have a family too," Marcus said when confronted. "I need security, not just dreams and promises." Anna wanted to scream, to rage at the unfairness. But Michael spoke first. "I understand desperation," he said quietly, "but there's a difference between sacrifice and betrayal. I sacrificed my reputation for someone I loved. You're betraying people who trusted you for money. That's not the same thing." Marcus left that day, taking nothing but his personal items. The team worked around the clock to change every access code, every password, every security protocol he might have compromised. Emily brought them coffee and snacks, practicing her French with the stressed developers. "Courage isn't the absence of fear," she told them in perfectly accented French. "It's moving forward despite the fear." The crisis actually strengthened the team. Those who remained were absolutely committed, understanding they were fighting not just for a company but for a principle. That loyalty mattered. That sacrifice for the right reasons was noble. That sometimes the underdog wins, not through strength, but through refusing to give up. Omar increased his investment. "Integrity under fire is rare," he told Anna. "Your team has proven they have it." He also had his lawyers send David Martinez a cease and desist letter that made it clear any attempt to steal SecureVault's technology would result in legal action that would destroy him. David backed off, his company eventually folding when investors learned about his tactics. But the real victory came when the International Chess Federation contacted Michael. They were reviewing his lifetime ban in light of new information about Sarah's illness. Several grandmasters, including some he'd defeated, had petitioned for his reinstatement. "I don't need it anymore," Michael told Anna that evening. "That life, that need to prove myself through chess, it died with Sarah. I have different priorities now." "But Emily would love to see you compete," Anna pointed out. "She's so proud of you." Michael smiled. "She's proud of me as her father, not as a chess champion. That matters more." Still, when the Federation officially lifted his ban and invited him to a ceremonial match, he accepted. Not for glory or redemption, but because Emily deserved to see her father recognized for who he truly was. The match was against a current world champion, an exhibition for charity. Emily and Anna sat in the front row. Emily providing whispered commentary in 3 languages for the confused spectators around them. Michael played brilliantly. Not to win, but to create beauty on the board. Each move was poetry, strategy elevated to art. When he achieved a draw against the champion, the crowd erupted. Emily rushed onto the stage, hugging her father as cameras flashed. "I'm proud of you, Daddy," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Not because you're good at chess, but because you're good at love." The quote became famous, printed on chessboards and motivational posters. But for Michael, it was just his daughter understanding what truly mattered. SecureVault went public 18 months later. Anna rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange with Michael and Emily beside her. The company was valued at $200 million. Every employee who'd stayed through the crisis became a millionaire on paper. But the real celebration happened that evening in their office, the same room where Emily had first challenged Omar to chess. The team gathered for champagne and juice boxes, toasting not their financial success but their survival as a family. "None of this would have happened without Emily," Anna said, raising her glass. "A 6-year-old who reminded us that bridges are built with understanding, not just words." Emily, now 8 and even more precocious, stood on a chair to respond. "None of this would have happened if adults remembered what children know, that being kind is more important than being right, that helping is more important than winning, and that families aren't just about blood. They're about choosing to stand together when everything falls apart." Omar, who'd flown in for the celebration, wiped his eyes. "In 40 years of business, I've never seen anything like this. A company built on sacrifice, tested by betrayal, and strengthened by love. You've redefined what success looks like." He looked at Emily. "Young lady, when you're old enough, I have a standing offer. Come work for me. Anyone who can see truth so clearly is someone I want on my side." Emily grinned. "Only if Daddy and Anna can come too. We're a package deal now." The room laughed, but the truth of it resonated. They were a package deal, the CEO who'd risked everything on a dream, the grandmaster who'd chosen love over glory, and the child who'd built bridges between worlds. Later that night, after everyone had gone home, Anna found Michael in the conference room where it all began. He was teaching Emily a new chess opening on the same board where she'd defeated Omar. "Marry me," Anna said suddenly, the words escaping before she could overthink them. Both Michael and Emily looked up in surprise. "I know we've only been dating a year, but I can't imagine Secure Vault without you. I can't imagine my life without either of you. We're already a family in every way that matters. Let's make it official." Michael stood slowly, crossing to where Anna stood. "I haven't been someone's husband since Sarah. I'm not sure I remember how." "You remember how to love," Anna said. "That's all that matters." Emily bounced between them. "Say yes, Daddy. I already call her Mom in my head anyway." Michael laughed, pulling both of them into his arms. "How could I say no to my two queens?" They were married 6 months later in the Secure Vault office, surrounded by their found family of developers, investors, and unlikely friends. Emily served as both flower girl and translator, switching between languages as international guests offered congratulations. Omar gave a toast that made everyone cry, talking about how 3 broken people had become whole by choosing each other. "In chess," he said, "the endgame is when true mastery shows. When pieces are few, and every move matters absolutely." Anna, Michael, and Emily have shown us that in life's endgame, when everything seems lost, love isn't just the best strategy, it's the only one that truly wins. The wedding cake was topped with chess pieces, a king, a queen, and a pawn that Emily had painted to look like a princess. Because pawns can become anything, she explained to guests. Just like people can become more than what they started as. David Martinez attended the wedding. It had been Anna's idea, a gesture of forgiveness that Michael initially resisted. But David came humbled. His own company failed, his reputation destroyed by his own tactics. "I was wrong," he told them simply. "I thought business was war. You've shown it can be something else, something better." Anna offered him a position at Secure Vault, not as CTO, but as a junior developer. "Everyone deserves a second chance," she said. "Michael taught me that, but second chances require genuine change. Are you ready for that?" David accepted, working his way up slowly, earning trust through actions, not words. He became one of their most dedicated employees, often staying late to mentor younger developers, sharing his failure as a cautionary tale. 3 years passed. Secure Vault became the industry standard for encryption technology. They opened offices globally, but the heart remained in that original building where a janitor had mopped floors and a little girl had translated Arabic. Emily, now 11, spoke 12 languages fluently and had started competing in chess tournaments. Not for glory, but for the joy of the game. She often quoted her father, "Winning is temporary, but how you play echoes forever." Michael returned to competitive chess selectively, playing in tournaments that benefited charities. His return to the circuit was triumphant not because he won, though he often did, but because he played with joy again. The shadow that had haunted him since Sarah's death finally lifted. Anna became the CEO every business school wanted to study. Her leadership style, built on trust and second chances, seemed to defy conventional wisdom yet produced extraordinary results. She spoke at conferences about the power of unlikely partnerships, always crediting Michael and Emily for teaching her that strength comes from vulnerability, not invulnerability. But the moment that defined their journey came during Emily's 12th birthday. Omar had flown in, as he did for every important occasion. The original team was there. Even Marcus, who'd returned after David's redemption, proved second chances could work. They gathered in the conference room where it all began, around the same chessboard that had changed their lives. "I want to tell you all something," Emily said, standing with the confidence of someone raised by love and strengthened by challenges. "When I was 6, I thought I was helping Daddy and Anna by translating. But now I realize I was really translating something bigger, the language of fear into the language of hope. Daddy was afraid of being seen. Anna was afraid of failing. Mr. Omar was afraid of trusting. But when you translate fear, it becomes courage. When you translate loneliness, it becomes family. When you translate sacrifice, it becomes love. She looked at each person in the room. We all speak different languages: code, chess, Arabic, business. But the most important language we've learned together is the one that says every person has value, every sacrifice matters, and every ending can become a beginning. Michael and Anna exchanged looks over their daughter's head, seeing in her the best of both of them, his strategic mind, her determined heart, and something uniquely Emily, the ability to see beauty in broken things and make them whole. Omar stood, raising his glass. To Emily Chen Morrison, who taught a billionaire that wealth isn't measured in money. To Michael, who showed us that true victory sometimes looks like defeat. To Anna, who proved that leadership isn't about having all the answers but about asking the right questions. And to all of us, who discovered that the best investments aren't in companies but in people who refuse to give up on each other. As they toasted, the late afternoon sun streamed through the windows, casting long shadows across the chessboard. The pieces stood ready for another game, another chance, another moment where everything could change with a single move. Emily set up the board, inviting Omar to play. As they began, she said something in Arabic that made him laugh. She says, "I've gotten predictable." Omar translated for the others. "That comfort has made me soft." He moved his pawn forward. "She's probably right. But isn't that what family does? Makes you soft in the best way?" Michael pulled Anna close, watching their daughter challenge the billionaire who'd become like a grandfather to her. "No regrets?" Anna asked quietly. "None," Michael replied. "Every sacrifice led us here." Sarah would have loved this, seeing Emily grow, seeing us together, seeing how one moment of translation created all of this. Anna leaned into him. "Think Emily knows she saved us all that day?" "She knows," Michael said. "But in her mind, we all saved each other. That's the genius of Emily. She doesn't see heroes and victims. She just sees people who need each other." The game continued as the sun set, casting golden light on a scene that had begun with mockery and desperation, but had transformed into something precious. A billionaire learning humility from a child, a disgraced grandmaster rediscovering joy, a desperate CEO finding that success meant more than money, and at the center, a 12-year-old girl who'd built bridges with words, healed wounds with wisdom, and proved that the smallest voice in the room often carries the most important message. "Checkmate," Emily announced gently, her voice carrying the same clear confidence it had 6 years ago. But this time, instead of triumph, there was only warmth. "Want to play again?" Omar smiled, resetting the board. "Always," he said. "That's what family does. We play again. We try again. We begin again. As many times as it takes." And so they played, as the evening settled around them, in the room where it all began. The janitor who became a strategic advisor. The CEO who became a mother. The child who became the heart of an unlikely family. And the billionaire who discovered that the best investment he'd ever made wasn't in a company but in believing that people could surprise you, forgive you, and teach you that love is the only game where everyone can win.